Hi, my name's Daniel. Welcome to the Amateur.net vlog. In this episode of the vlog, I'm going to be talking about the recent news that Birmingham City is applying for Category 1 Academy status. I'm going to talk about how academies are categorised, what Birmingham City have had to do to get in line for Category 1 status, and the benefits that getting Category 1 status might have for them. So without any more talk about Category 1 status, let's get going. The news that Birmingham City are going for Category 1 status should be viewed as good news by Birmingham City fans. It's positive proof that the owners of the football club are investing in the infrastructure and, more importantly, the future of the club. But what does Category 1 status mean? How are academies categorised? Back in 2011, the Premier League launched something called the Elite Player Performance Plan, or EPPP. I think that's right, 3 P's, EPPP. And the idea of EPPP was to revolutionise how football academies operated in England. The idea was to standardise investments in academies, so there were effective ways to measure the quality of the academies that clubs had. EPPP also sought to incentivise those clubs that invested heavily in their academies and make it easier for them to attract players. And of course, more players in the academies coming through to first team means better for England, for more homegrown players, making it all the way to the very top level. Now, in October 2011, the 72 clubs of the EFL voted on this measure. 46 voted for, 22 voted against, 3 didn't bother to turn up, and 1 abstained. EPPP was seen by Football League clubs as controversial because it changed a couple of the old rules that they felt protected them from being taken over by the big ones. In the old days, there used to be a rule called the 90-minute rule, so that any player playing for an academy had to live within 90 minutes travel time of the club. This meant that every club had a catchment area, and if you were a bit remote, then that would get extended. But the idea was that big clubs wouldn't be able to take a player from a smaller club that was a long way away from them. EPPP also set compensation levels for players moving between academies, and the feeling was from the smaller clubs these compensation levels were too low, and that they would not be adequately compensated if a bigger club came in and stole one of their players. Now, clubs went 2 different directions when EPPP came in. Some clubs invested heavily in their academies to get Category 1 status. Other clubs, and I'm going to use Brentford as an example here, decided to do away with academies altogether. Brentford got rid of theirs at the end of the 2015-2016 season, simply because in London, surrounded by big clubs, they didn't feel they had a chance, that they couldn't invest properly. So they decided instead to pick up players that were discarded by the big clubs and to have a B team, as it were, where they would use players that would graduate through there into their team. And it's worked quite effectively for Brentford, in fairness. Now, Blues has pretty much always had Category 2 status, and this is the first time they're going for Category 1. So what's changed? It's actually difficult to go into detail for what you need to go from Category 2 to Category 1. The document with all the requirements in is about 90 pages long, and as I understand it, you have to have a certain percentage of the items in Category 1 to be audited as a Category 1 academy. So knowing exactly what Blues have had to do is a little bit difficult. From what I understand though, it's what you'd expect. Additional investment in coaching, in facilities and infrastructure. Blues have actually had a lot in place already. In recent years, there's been significant improvements in both the gym and the classroom to bring those up to snuff. But there have been additional facilities that they've had to change to go for Category 1 status. One of those was to allow them to have more games going on at once of an evening, for example. So you need floodlights. Floodlights sounds like a really easy thing to sort out, but what you have to understand is that Blues don't actually own West Hills. They have it on a long lease from the University of Birmingham. I think it's 99 years. And while that means that they can put stuff on there, they've built the indoor dome, they've built all the facilities they already have, they have to do it with the agreements of the university. And I don't know the specifics, but I understand that there were some issues with the floodlight process. Back in 2011, before Carson Young got arrested, Blues actually did start negotiations to buy West Hills. But then Carson got banged up for money laundering and everything went by the by. And money had to be cut back from the team. They had to redress the balance of the huge wages. And I think it's only now we're in a position where the board are actually thinking we don't just have to invest in players anymore, we can invest in the club as well. This is why it's taken so long. So whatever objections the university have had, the club have overcome them. The club have done what they need to, what they feel they need to get Category 1 status, and now they've applied for it. It's a year-long audit and they'll find out next May if they get it. So what are the benefits of being a Category 1 academy? So the most obvious benefit of being a Category 1 academy is that it's harder to steal players from a Category 1 academy. The Blues did a wonderful job with Jude Bellingham. They protected him, they brought him through the ranks, they got him into the first team, and they were rewarded with a massive transfer fee when he signed a professional contract and then went to Borussia Dortmund. But there have been players who have been poached by other clubs, and some of those players could have made it also. Now, the corollary of being harder to have players stolen from Blues is that as a Category 1 academy, it's going to be easier for Blues to steal players from other academies. Now, I know it sounds wrong, but it's a dog-eat-dog world, and this is one of the things they have to do. If you think about it, there are currently 3 Category 1 academies in the West Midlands already. The Baggies, Wolves, and the mob from across the expressway that we don't talk about. So Blues have got a lot of competition as it is. And one of the things that you can do as Category 1 academy is to set up regional talent centres to bring in players from areas that might not have big football clubs nearby to bring them into Blues. And Blues actually have already done this a little bit. 2 years ago in 2018, they opened a talent ID centre in Worcester to attract players from Worcestershire, Herefordshire and Gloucestershire, which, if you think about it, don't have many big teams. Being a Category 1 academy will allow Blues to do that much more. Things change on the pitch too. So currently, Blues Under 23 is playing the Professional Development League. Category 1 academy status means that they'll be able to play in Premier League 2. I'm guessing they'd start in Division 2 of Premier League 2, but it's a higher standard of play, which means it'll be better for the players playing because there'll be more competition for them and make the step up to the first team that little bit easier. Premier League 2 teams are also entitled to play in the Premier League Cup. They can play under 21 sides in the EFL Trophy. They're invited into that. We might want to go and win a trophy we've already won twice. And if you do really well and you finish towards the top end of Premier League 2, there is the Premier League International Cup and the UEFA Youth League, which sound amazing. And you don't even have to be in the Champions League to be in the UEFA Youth League. If you've won Premier League 2, then you enter the UEFA Youth League as a right. So there is incentives there to keep improving. In short, getting Category 1 status is a really big step for Blues and a really, really positive one. It's one that hopefully ensures a brighter future for the club, and credit must go to people at the club, including the board, who have done what they've needed to push this forward to get Blues into a position where they can apply for it. If you've enjoyed this video, please click the like button. And if you want to see me spout on more about Blues, about Birmingham City's owners and the way the club is run, then please subscribe to the channel. If you click the little bell, it will notify you when I come online with some new video. Till next time, keep right on.